Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your July 2020 mid-month general reading. So we're looking at the last half of July. I hope, as I always do, that everyone is staying safe and well. And as always, as sane as we can in the world we live in today, this year, which has been kind of crazy. I hope everyone's well. Thanks for taking the time to tune in today and for everything that you do in support of this channel, whether it's just taking the time to tune in and watch the videos, although I always like and appreciate if you can like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for everything that all of you have done. My brain just paused there for a second. Gratitude first. Okay. So this reading is for the fire sign of Leo, our lovely lions, for the last half of July. That's Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Leo Rising, if your Venus is in Leo, or if you are cross-watching for a Leo. I suggest, as many of us do, that you watch all of your signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, because each video that you watch will bring in, additional bits of clarification into whatever's going on in your life. So it's always helpful to watch all of them if you can. They always resonate a little differently for everyone. If any of the videos do resonate with you and you'd like to take a deeper look at something or reach out for a personal reading, you can get more info and contact details by clicking on the description link below, clicking on the little arrow that pulls down info. You'll see my email address there, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I can usually respond the same day or the first 24 hours with more info. And I do readings full-time, 5-6 days a week. It's all that I do, so sometimes 7 days a week. So I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to get readings set up as quickly as possible. So email me if you're interested. All right, let's get into this. Leo, last half of July 2020. For those of you who need to know, want to know, I am using Legacy of the Divine Tarot. And if we need to clarify, I'll be clarifying with the Gilded Tarot Royale. Leo, last half of July. Okay, Leo, we begin with the Seven of Swords, followed by the Ten of Coins, also known as Pentacles in other decks. We have Justice, followed by the Eight of Swords. From the bottom of the deck, overall energy and focus is the Lovers. I'm going to pull the next two cards just to take a look. We have the Five of Swords and the Four of Coins. And the next card from the bottom of the deck after the Lovers would be the Three of Coins. The reason I'm doing this is because I feel compelled to. So it looks like, Leo, this is definitely a situation that involves a partnership of some kind. But for those Leos I'm reading for, some of you are on one side of it and some of you are on the other side of it. Meaning that for some of you, this looks like the main issue is working with a relationship, whether it's personal, like friends, family, romantic, or work. Although the Lovers would imply that it's probably a more romantic or, a pretty emotionally connective, perhaps tumultuous, passionate relationship. And the Lovers can also represent needing to make a significant choice. That choice might be about the relationship, or it might be a different kind of decision, but that could have a significant effect on a primary relationship or partnership of some kind, because right behind it is the Three of Coins, which is also a card of partnership in a way. It does represent compromise, negotiation within some kind of partnership or collaboration, for even if you don't like each other. I mean, for example, the Three of Coins can represent, that two people or a small group of people have, some common goal or common cause, something they're trying to achieve. And so, regardless of the nature of the relationship with the people involved or the person involved, you have to kind of come together and figure out a way to achieve that. So there's compromise, negotiation, some kind of collaboration. For some of you, you might be on the side where it's actually about the relationship itself, about maybe being clever and trying to keep some things under wraps or not completely reveal everything. And for some of you, you might be on a different side of the story where it's you and your person or your partner, again, regardless of the nature of the relationship, and the two of you are working together, really together, against something else or to achieve something else together. It's kind of like a couple, kind of it's them, trying to, in a positive way, being together and trying to deal with something else together. And the other side of that would be, it could be like a divorce or a separation, and you're trying to figure out, who gets what and who gets this. And, there's always a certain amount of maybe secrecy or holding back or trying to make sure that, you're taken care of, your security is taken care of. Because it looks, I'm seeing the Ten of Coins and Justice here and the Four of Coins. I feel like for the Three of Coins, I feel like for a lot of you, has something to do with the earth energy part of your life, meaning in the tarot, that would be the pentacles or coins is governed by the element of earth. So it's often about, earthly things in the physical structure of our day-to-day life, like money, resources, material things, finances, job, work, property, all of that kind of stuff. And so the focus, the general focus and energy for the last half of July is the Lovers and the Three of Coins. So it's definitely trying to, you and another person, or you and perhaps a small group of people trying to, there's a common cause here that you have to work together in order to achieve, whether it's together or, again, whether it's a separate thing and you're trying to figure out who gets what and what goes where. And there's some secrecy here. We've got, and concealment or cover-up. We have, for some of you it might be you're in a relationship which the Lovers, if it's a romantic relationship, regardless, or even friend or family, the Lovers card usually implies that the relationship doesn't lack heat. There may be a lot of passion, enthusiasm, excitement, but it can also be very fiery and feisty and tumultuous as well. So if this is a breakup or a separation and you're dealing with legal issues, because I feel like a lot of you are, and again, you might be on the other side of this where it's you and your person or you and this partner who's having to deal with issues kind of in a bit of a battle, like there's two different sides and the two of you are together on one side and whatever else is on the other. So we have the Seven of Swords accompanied by the Ten of Coins. So the Seven of Swords, I often, usually humorously, refer to the Seven of Swords as my sneaky thief card. It can represent stealing or exploitation. Simplistically or fundamentally, it represents, something being concealed, there being some kind of sneakiness or concealment or secrecy or cover-up. But it's not necessarily bad. The thief gets kind of a bad rap. Sometimes the Seven of Swords can represent, that you have a goal to achieve. Whether it's against this person or with this person, there's some kind of goal to achieve. You have some kind of aim that you're going for, a motive, right? And the Seven of Swords can represent that you might feel in order to, or the other person might feel in order to achieve whatever their goal or whatever their motive is, they need to operate in as much secrecy as possible, keep playing their cards close to their chest. Well, what's that about? Well, the accompanying or clarifying card is the Ten of Coins. This card has a strong connection to home, family, and it's coins, which is governed by the element of earth, so money, finances. The Ten of Coins used to be referenced as the inheritance card, so it might be an inheritance issue. This might be like about perhaps someone passed on and it's about, the legal division of assets in the estate and who gets what. because I'm getting this who gets what kind of energy. Um, it can represent long-term, the 10 represents the full achievement, the most of the energy, maybe not the full achievement, but the most of the energy that suit contains. So the 10 of coins, represents long-term stability and structure and safety. If the 10 of coins represents actual dollars and cents, it would represent, like having enough money in the bank that you don't need to worry. Even if you lost your job, you'd be okay for a while. The implication is that the 10 of coins stands for having a present sense of abundance, financial or material abundance. It can also represent long-term relationships, which also make us feel stable and rooted too. But it comes from all the weight of time and history that went into building it up, whether it's relationships or money or resources or property, like family home, family business, family money, all of that kind of stuff. So what's being hidden is this. It also might be for some of you that whether it's you and your partner or the other side or you against a previous partner, there might be some hiding of assets. And when you really boil that all down, the details and specifics are going to vary because this is a general reading and everyone has different things going on in your lives. But that fundamental energy remains the same. Something is being concealed or hidden, even if it's the motive of trying to get long-term job security as well. This could also be, dating someone or being in a relationship or only being willing to, date someone who has, a high level of financial and material security because you want that. The 10 of coins is long-term stability and security, whether it's in money, property, material issues, long-term relationships. That's the focus here, whether you're hiding it, or the other person is hiding it, whether you're hiding it, or whether your motive is to get as much as you can because it's all about feeling secure. That's what physical things really do. They give us that sense of security. So there's this sense of something being concealed, whether it's the actual hiding of assets or whether your motive, maybe you're in a legal situation or some other kind of situation and your motive is to get as much or retain as much as you possibly can. So next to that we have Justice and the Eight of Swords. So Justice in the upright is the reap what you sow card. It's also a card that implies doing the right thing, being as transparent as possible, honor, integrity, the high road, which is interesting because it's sitting right next to our sneaky thief concealment card. Justice is the reap what you sow card, meaning, justice is blind, as the saying goes. And the reason justice is usually portrayed as a lady being blind, holding the scales, is that it's not supposed to be, the outcome and decision of something is not supposed to be based on people's wishes or wants or intents so much as it is their actual choices, decisions, and actions. So the implication with justice is that you reap what you sow, meaning whatever actions and motives and intentions you put into something are going to be reflected in the outcome as well. So the implication and the cautionary advice is, try to take the high road as much as possible, because if you don't, it will reflect. Whether now or later, it will come back to you. Kind of, karma always comes calling. Well, what clarifies and accompanies that is the Eight of Swords, which is a card that represents feeling trapped, feeling bound, feeling like you can't free yourself from something, feeling like you're perhaps a victim. It's somewhat illusionary. Swords is governed by the element of air, which is all about the energy that governs our head, mental, cerebral energy. So swords can often be about words, communications, belief systems, perspectives, our ideologies, and how we communicate that and how that affects our actions and our communication in the world. So the Eight of Swords can literally represent, feeling hijacked by ideas, by your ideology. So this can represent feeling like you can't do the right thing or feeling like You know what I get? I kind of get the sense here, Leo, whatever the situation is for you, it feels like it's a bit of a moral or ethical dilemma. I think for some of you, if you're involved in some kind of legal situation or lawsuit or civil litigation or a divorce or legal separation of some kind, or maybe trying to separate from a business partner or a business or something of that sort, it feels like someone is might want to take the high road and prefer to take the high road, but they feel that they can't because if they do, they will be taken advantage of. Like if you do, you'll be taken advantage of. If you reveal everything and you have full disclosure, that somehow you'll be taken advantage of, and therefore you have to be kind of sneaky, or you have to hide certain things, because if you don't, you're going to get taken advantage of, you're going to get exploited, maybe by the other person, and by the other person utilizing the letter of the law to their advantage, and you will lose your opportunity to either get that long-term stability and security, or lose that long-term stability and security that you have. Some of you might be on the other side of that fence, like because it feels like there's a struggle here, there's a battle, and there's literally a line drawn between there. Like there's one side and there's one camp and the other camp, one side and the other side. And you might feel frustrated or trapped by, the struggle might be in, the right thing to do would be this, but if I do this, I'm going to lose this, and so therein is the struggle. It might be that the other side, the other camp, is hiding things and using the letter of the law or policies or something that's written to say, well, I don't have to do this because the law says I don't have to, even though that might be the right thing to do. The law says I don't necessarily have to, so I'm not going to. It feels kind of sticky, and it does feel somewhat legal. Now, I did pull the next couple of cards from the top of the deck to see, because I was curious to see how this energy continued to kind of play out. And we got the Five of Swords and the Four of Coins, which implies that someone here, whether it's you or the other camp, the other side, it looks like someone is going to be successful in holding on to at least some of their whatever it is that makes them feel secure. Again, coins can be actual money, dollars and cents, paper and coins. It can be material things, property, cars, businesses, shares, investments, that sort of thing. And it can also be long-term relationships too, which also gives us a feeling of rootedness and stability in the world we live in. The Five of Swords represents a victory, technically, although it's a hard victory, and at the end of it you may not really feel particularly victorious, even though you have clearly won. You've gathered up all these swords, which are your opponent's weapons, which means you've taken away the other camp's or person or whatever it is, whoever it is. You've taken away their ability to hurt you, and you're holding your own weapon aloft in victory. But the colors are murky. It's not a particularly victorious looking thing. It looks like Armageddon in the background. He's walking away, but not unscathed. Tired, worn out, overwhelmed, exhausted, bruised up. He's got cuts, bleeding a little bit. It's not been easy, and you don't feel particularly victorious. You're like, yeah, I escaped that. All I just really want to do is go home and forget about this, right? So a hard-won victory. What's that about? Well, we have the Four of Coins, which is somebody who is clutching, holding on. And in here, he has almost that kind of sneaky sort of look too. It's not the 10 of coins, but he still has some left, and he's holding on to that. It can sometimes represent, being frugal, being miserly. But 4 can be a number of stability too, 4 pillars. It can represent, on an emotional level, being very guarded, very protective of whatever it is that makes you feel secure, whether it's the actual money or property or whatever it is. This is somebody who's holding on to what gives him that sense of security and stability, and he doesn't want to let it go. He doesn't want to share it. He doesn't want to let it go. And I often see this card, not always, but often see this card come up when the person, the client, or whoever it's resonating for, has already lost quite a bit and they don't want to lose anymore. So the more the more you've lost, the more, often the more protective you get over what you have left. So there is some kind of victory won here, Leo. A successful victory. Although it may not feel like that at the time. That may come with time and perspective. Whoever is trying to gain or retain the long-term stability and structure in this situation, because I don't feel entirely sure, which means that for some of you are going to be on one side and some of you are going to be on the other side. Whoever's trying to hold on to it is going to be successful. And, I don't think, and it doesn't feel like either side is 100% successful. It feels, and maybe that's what this compromise negotiation is here in this partnership situation is about. Compromise and negotiation means that neither side gets 100% of everything that they want, because it's not possible. That's what compromise and negotiation is. It's okay. I'll settle, this is the most important thing, so I'll settle for that and I'll let these other aspects of it go. And, kind of this haggling sort of energy. And it does look like that is successfully achieved in the end. But it's not 100% on each side. It's like it's been achieved, and someone is successful in holding on and retaining at least a lot. Like if this is a lawsuit and you're going for, $100,000, maybe you come out with 50 or 30 or something like that. Or if you think you're going to lose a whole bunch of money, you don't lose as much as you think. There's some kind of compromise, represented. It feels like everybody walks away going kind of, okay, could have been a lot better and I'm disappointed about that, but it could have been a lot worse, and I'm okay with that too. And I'm just kind of really glad that this whole thing is done and over, and let's move on. That's kind of the energy here that I get about how this is kind of playing out. Although I feel, it may wrap up by the end of July, but, or the end of July, first part of August kind of energy. That's what I'm seeing here. Let's pull, I'm just going to end up by, I'm going to pull one advice card for you, and I actually feel like I'm going to stick with Legacy of the Divine. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to go to the Gilded Royale, and I'm going to just ask for a card or two for advice, and we'll end it there. Advice for Leo on the best way to navigate through this situation, these energies. Okay, we have the Five of Wands and the Four of Swords. Conflict with the Five of Wands. Moderately petty, because it's a 5, not a 10, not an 8, not a major arcana card, but a 5. But it's circular fighting over the same thing, going over and over and over again. Nobody's really out to kill anybody here. They're sparring with practice weapons. It's not real weapons. Nobody wants to cut anybody's head off. But nobody's willing to give up, to back down, to compromise and negotiate, which is what's being called here. So there's no real winner, no real loser. It just keeps going around and around and around. And the Four of Swords is a card of withdrawing from that conflict. Rest, respite, restoration. I think by the time this situation is over with, both sides, you and whatever, is just going to be kind of tired and glad that it's all over. But in terms of advice, this combination of cards is an indication that you want to focus on this Three of Pentacles, actually, Three of Coins, Three of Pentacles. It's about compromise and negotiation, which these people aren't willing to do because they start off wanting everything and they're not willing to haggle or negotiate at all. So it's a card about taking a step back, taking a look at prioritizing, taking a look at what the most important thing is, what I can live with, what I can do without, and kind of going from there and trying to not be an active participation and contributor to the kind of barracuda conflict energy that this can represent. So you being the one to kind of elevate and take as much of the higher road that you can in terms of not getting emotionally, being a contributor of the stress and the conflict, and trying to negotiate as best as possible. So Leo, that is your reading for the last half of July. I hope you found it useful. If you did, if you find any of the videos useful and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. You can find that info, again, by clicking on the description link, that little arrow that pulls down info. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the August 2020 general readings. Until then, as always, please stay safe and well. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.